investigation into singer David has intensified after the body of a teenager was discovered in a Tesla that has been linked to him.
This Celeste and David case just took a terrifying turn. It's gone from dark to downright disturbing. The feds finally pieced together a full timeline, and what they uncovered paints David as reckless and careless with Celeste. But just when everyone thought the case was sealed tight, his own brother Caleb flipped the whole thing upside down by dropping a massive bombshell. He's claiming the so-called timeline the feds are bragging about might not even be real. Here's where things get wild. The feds laid their cards on the table, releasing a timeline that looks completely incriminating. Every date, every lyric, every message. It all seems to point one way. According to their report, everything starts in late 2021 going into early 2022 when David meets Celeste online through Fortnite. He's believed to be around 16 or 17, and she's reported to be just 11 or 12. A major red flag. Investigators aren't brushing that off for a second. Then on March 28, 2022, David drops a track titled Decide. And here's where things get even weirder. The lyrics reportedly mention phrases like, save your tears in 7 years. Fans started connecting dots fast, claiming that line was a twisted hint about Celeste's age, like he was waiting for her to grow up. That's unsettling beyond belief. Fast forward to September 7th, 2022, Celeste's birthday. David releases another song, Romantic, on the exact same day. Most artists drop tracks to match their emotions, but the timing here had investigators raising eyebrows. By October, things exploded when alleged Discord chats between them started surfacing, and that's when this story really began spiraling out of control. David was literally in Discord chats asking, "Is Celeste in here?" And she actually replied. From that moment on, things just kept spiraling. By 2023, everything started to unravel. A Twitch stream surfaced showing David and Celeste laughing about highly controversial topics before he suddenly freaked out and told her to delete the VOD. That single moment had investigators looking at him sideways like, what's he trying to hide?
Why are you calling?
Been dead, been dead,
and say you're sorry. I didn't want to go and change the narrative and say something completely different.
Then came February 2024, the month everything started collapsing. Celeste's mom reported her missing for the first time while the internet was already exploding with accusations. People were flooding David's comments saying things like, LAPD's gonna catch you messing with a 13-year-old. It was chaos. And right when the world thought that was bad enough, brand new photos of David and Celeste surfaced, proving they were still together even after the missing report. That was the breaking point for many. Spring 2024 made it even stranger. Celeste vanished again, only to reappear briefly before going missing once more. By June, she was gone. But come August, fans spotted her backstage at one of David's shows. Discord users went wild, writing comments like, drop the one with the missing girl Celeste, practically screaming that something was off. The internet was connecting dots before the cops even got close. And then, the most horrifying twist. September 2025, a body is discovered, dismembered, and hidden in the trunk of a Tesla registered to David himself.
This album is my life. Like, Withered is my life. Petals of Thorns and Lost Petals are what I wanted my life to be, and then Withered is my life.
That was the moment everything shattered. The feds pieced this together like it was the final nail in the coffin. Within days, police raided his manager's house, the label cut all ties, and David went full ghost mode, wiping his Reddit history and locking his Fortnite stats. The timeline looked airtight, impossible to argue with. But then came Caleb, David's brother, saying the timeline everyone believes might not even be real. Caleb came out swinging, saying all those dates, screenshots, and receipts don't prove guilt at all. He's claiming they actually prove something way darker, that somebody set his brother up. That statement flipped the entire case on its head. But right after the feds dropped their airtight timeline, new rumors started exploding. Whispers that Caleb himself might actually be working with the cops. Online detectives went into full meltdown. People started saying Caleb didn't just step away from his brother, he might have flipped completely. Some Reddit threads even accused him of snitching. They're connecting his own lyrics to Celeste and suggesting he knew a lot more than he ever let on. If any of that turns out to be true, Caleb wouldn't just be the brother spilling secrets, he'd be the one quietly helping law enforcement piece the whole thing together. And in hip hop, that word snitch hits hard. Fans are split right down the middle, some calling it straight up betrayal, while others are shouting that it's justice finally catching up. The tension is real. So here's how this all started. Reports began circulating that Caleb was cooperating with the police, disturbed by the growing accusations surrounding his brother. At the same time, Reddit detectives tore through his music, pointing out bars that allegedly lined up too perfectly with the timeline between David and Celeste. It's like his lyrics were hiding clues in plain sight. Then came a blurry photo that made everything worse, supposedly showing Caleb backstage with Celeste at one of David's concerts. That image lit up social media instantly. People demanded answers. Did Caleb know? Did he stay silent? Or is this his way of clearing his name before things explode even more? So far, nothing's been officially confirmed. The LAPD hasn't said a word on record about Caleb's alleged cooperation, but that silence, it's only making the rumors scream louder. Some reports started flying that Caleb's been working side by side with authorities. And once that hit the internet, people ran with it like wildfire. Whether it's based on facts or just messy clout-chasing journalism, the damage is already done. Caleb's name is officially tangled up in this chaos now. But here's the real question. If Caleb is cooperating, what's his true motive? Is he trying to protect himself before the feds start connecting the dots to the whole crew? Or is he playing a bigger game? Let's not forget, David's manager already got his house raided and his label dropped him without hesitation. Everyone close to David is backing away fast. So if Caleb really stepped in as the informant brother, it could go two ways. Either he's saving himself from the fallout, or he's driving the final nail in David's coffin. Either way, that move changes everything. Now here's where things turn seriously dark. If Caleb is feeding the feds information, then all those cryptic details, the eerie lyrics, the late night voicemails, even the tattoos, might not just be creepy coincidences anymore. They could be the exact evidence investigators need to seal David's fate. Imagine that, his own brother's words becoming part of the case against him. That's cold, but before we call Caleb a snitch or a savior, there's something else we've got to break down. The wild online chaos fueling this fire. The internet's been drowning in rumors since day one. Fake posts, twisted theories, and straight up false leads. The worst of them, that viral pregnancy rumor. A post on X racked up over 2.5 million views claiming Celeste was pregnant when she died, and that infant remains were supposedly found near David's home. That single rumor flipped the internet upside down and made an already horrifying story even more disturbing. That single claim sent shockwaves through the entire fan base. People were losing their minds. Overnight, the story went from tragic to straight up horrifying. Some even started saying this wasn't just a relationship gone wrong. It was something way darker. But here's the hard truth. That viral pregnancy rumor, totally debunked. There's no official report, no forensic confirmation, nothing from law enforcement backing it up. It was pure internet chaos. Misinformation spreading like wildfire because fans were desperate for answers, and the story was too wild to ignore. Then came the next twist, the whole situation with Celeste's aunt, and this one got messy. Screenshots started circulating online showing her posting shoutouts, flexing her new talent badge, and acting like the tragedy was just another content opportunity. That had people heated. Some called it blatant clout chasing, while others said maybe she's just trying to cope in her own way. Either way, it had fans seriously side-eyeing the family dynamics. By now, the noise around this case was deafening. False leads, family drama, and viral posts kept mixing with actual updates until it was impossible to tell what was real anymore. On one side, you've got the feds quietly building a homicide case. On the other, online detectives tossing around wild theories, half of which are proven fake within hours. The whole thing's turned into one giant storm of confusion. But here's the chilling part. Maybe this chaos isn't random at all. Think about it. When timelines get flooded with rumors, real evidence gets buried. The truth gets lost in the noise. So you've got to ask, are these false claims just emotional fans reaching for answers? Or is this all part of a bigger play, a calculated move to distract the world and keep the real story hidden in plain sight? And this is where things get truly disturbing. While the internet keeps running wild with fake rumors and false leads, the creepiest evidence might have been sitting right in front of everyone the entire time, hidden inside David's own music. What investigators are finding in his old texts and lyrics doesn't read like coincidence anymore. It feels like a confession. If the timeline and Caleb's accusations weren't dark enough, the real horror might live inside David's art. His songs, his interviews, even the random voicemails hidden in his albums. When you start dissecting the lyrics, listening closely to the voice notes, and watching those emotional onstage meltdowns, what you find stops feeling creative. It feels incriminating. It's as if every bar and breakdown was a breadcrumb leading to something horrifying. Let's rewind a bit. David's upbringing was anything but normal. His parents pulled him out of school early, homeschooled him, and reportedly kept him locked inside a strict, hyper-religious household. He confirmed that himself in an interview with Dazed, admitting how suffocating it felt. People who knew him back then claim he was already showing disturbing behavior, obsessed with blood, death, and violent imagery long before fame ever came his way. Video games and isolation only seemed to feed that obsession. Then everything changed once he blew up online. The fame, the money, the freedom, it all hit at once. And that so-called freedom may have been the start of his downfall. Fans now believe his fixation on Celeste went far beyond love or art. She became the centerpiece of his entire world, the one thing he couldn't let go of. The most chilling theory yet? Investigators think Celeste may have been killed sometime between October and January, right around the time David finished his final album. That means the music everyone's been streaming might not just be a soundtrack to his success. It could be a haunting confession of the crime itself. And once you really dig into that final album, the lyrics, the tone, even his interviews, that chilling theory starts sounding way less far-fetched. Every word suddenly feels loaded with hidden meaning. In one interview, David said, "That's what I feel for my art. It's beautiful for a time, so my music is only here for a temporary time. Withered is the process of going back to where I came from." He explained that he wanted the album to sound like a goodbye, a send-off to the next era, or whatever I'm doing next. At the time, fans brushed it off as artistic talk, but now people are questioning everything. Was that goodbye about his career or about Celeste herself? The phrasing feels way too personal, like he wasn't just saying farewell to music, but to someone he couldn't move on from. Then there's the whole invisible string obsession. David would constantly reference the invisible string theory and the Korean concept of jong, that deep emotional bond that's nearly impossible to break, even when it turns toxic. He once said, "The irony is that the person who taught me this begged me, 'Don't leave me,' but in the end, she left anyway." And knowing what we know now, it's hard not to connect those words directly to Celeste. But the symbolism doesn't stop there. It gets even darker. His project Withered was rumored to transition into a deluxe version called Japanese Lily. In Japanese culture, the red spider lily isn't just a random flower. It represents death, loss, and the final separation between life and death. That haunting connection has fans convinced the album wasn't just music. It was a coded goodbye letter. Every lyric, every metaphor, every mention of letting go now feels like David was hinting at something tragic long before the world even realized what was happening. The red spider lily blooms as summer fades into fall, that haunting moment of transition between life and death. But fans are now asking, was that just poetic symbolism for artistic rebirth, or a dark, coded reference to Celeste's tragic fate? Because here's where things get seriously eerie. Celeste's actual voice is scattered throughout David's songs. You can hear her in tracks like "I Never Needed You in So Long, Goodbye." Her voice messages play raw and unfiltered, crying, apologizing, sounding drunk, saying she misses him. It's haunting. In one voicemail, she says, "You're always the one calling my phone. You have to figure out what's going on with you. Why are you?" And the clip cuts off. That unfinished sentence has fans spiraling. It paints the picture of a girl trying to pull away and a boy who simply refused to let go. The energy is suffocating, like she was trying to escape something that wouldn't stop chasing her. Then there's the SoundCloud track Satan's Pursuit, the one that had everyone's jaw dropping. Dropped in late 2023, David raps, "It kills me slowly, day by day. I need to find somewhere to clean my thoughts, but I'm not happy at all. I let Satan pursue me. I still miss you the way it was before I threw my life away." That's not just emotional, that's chilling. People are saying he was confessing in real time, bar by bar, and no one even realized it. And it didn't stop in the studio. His live performances started showing cracks too. In April 2025, during the BandLab experience, David completely broke down mid-song while performing Afterlife, sobbing uncontrollably and unable to finish. Then just 2 months later in June, he tried performing it again, and the same thing happened. Another emotional collapse, another moment of total breakdown right on stage. Fans now wonder if those weren't just emotional performances, but a man unraveling under the weight of what he'd done. Fans can't even agree on what those onstage breakdowns meant. Was it pure grief, or was it guilt finally cracking through the surface? Either way, it left everyone deeply unsettled. When you line up all the details, the suspicious release dates, the flower and death symbolism, the invisible string theory, Celeste's real voice woven into his songs, and those haunting public meltdowns, it stops feeling like coincidence. To many fans, it's starting to look like obsession turned into an eerie memorial, a dark love story immortalized in music. And from that came the most chilling theory yet. that David lived with Celeste's body for months before hiding her inside the trunk of his Tesla, hoping it would eventually get towed and destroyed before anyone found her. It's the kind of story that sounds too dark to be real, but the evidence trail has people second-guessing everything. Some even believe David wanted to get caught, that scattering clues through his lyrics and visuals was his twisted way of leaving a confession behind. But there's another question everyone's now asking. If David was truly spiraling that badly, did the people closest to him see it coming? Did his management, his label, his friends, the whole team know more than they've been letting on? And if they did, how deep does this cover-up actually go? That's where the spotlight shifts. Because as much as fans are pointing fingers at David, others are starting to look at the people who surrounded him and kept his career alive through all the chaos. Take Josh Marshall, David's longtime manager. The feds raided his house right after Celeste's body was confirmed, and that move sent shockwaves through the industry. Why would they go after the manager unless they suspected he was connected to the whole situation? And here's the kicker. Fans online claim Josh and the label weren't clueless at all. They're being accused of enabling David's disturbing behavior. Multiple insiders reportedly warned them about Celeste being a missing minor back in 2024, yet nothing changed. If that's true, it means the people meant to guide his career might have turned a blind eye to the biggest red flags imaginable. If that's really true, then Josh can't play dumb, not for a second. Celeste wasn't just some random fan. She was a missing girl who somehow kept showing up at David's shows, hanging backstage with his team, surrounded by adults who should have known better. Anyone in David's circle could take one look at her and see she was way too young to be there. The fake IDs, the fact that she couldn't even drive and still showing up in concert photos, it all screams negligence. So the burning question is, why didn't anyone step in? The answer is ugly but simple. They looked the other way because the money kept flowing. The fame, the streams, the press, it was all too good to risk shutting down. But then it gets even shadier. Right after the LAPD searched David's rented apartment, reports say Josh ended the lease immediately. Fans called it a straight-up cleanup move, like he was trying to wipe away evidence before the cops dug any deeper. And the label, they cut ties almost instantly, faster than anyone expected. To many, it looked less like damage control and more like they knew what was coming. That's when Caleb's name started creeping back into the mix again. Because if he's truly cooperating with investigators, this might go way beyond David. The feds could be digging into everyone connected to him, the management, the label, even family. Caleb's sudden distance could easily be him dodging the fallout, while Josh and the label scramble to protect their own reputations. But here's the hard truth. David's no longer the only one under the microscope. His entire circle's being dragged through the mud, and every new leak makes it look more like this wasn't one man losing control. It was an entire system built to protect him, until the truth got too big to hide. What do you think about this wild case? Do you believe Caleb's really cooperating, or is there something even darker behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps more than you know, and I'll see you in the next video, because this story is far from over.